So you must think of they must think of the whole picture. Must think of the whole picture. And I think holistic planning is something like that. You have to see far. Yeah, don't just aim for one goal.
All right. Okay. Good morning, guys. Welcome again to SOW, start of the week. And we have our session here today where we'll be sharing a little bit of updates on the recent news. And for those of you who are actually joining us for today, I hope you have been doing well in this phase 2 or even phase 1 or phase 3 of the restrictions. And those of you who have already heard about the news and announcements from our PM yesterday, okay, I think it's good news, and I hope that everyone is excited to the next phase. Okay, so we have Sean joining us here. Hi, Sean. Morning. And we have Zhong Jie joining us here as well. Hi, Zhong Jie. Morning.
Hello,
guys.
morning, everyone.
All right. Okay. So just to begin, let me just do a quick screen share. All right. So this particular what we'll be doing a little bit for our team as well is to talk a little bit more on the SAF term. Okay, and the SAF term that I'm talking about actually is something that would be familiar to all of us. Okay, and so the question is actually, is SAF still worthwhile? Okay, so if you are already on it, okay, don't panic. Okay, it's still something that is worthwhile. I just want to give everyone here a quick overview and some food for thought, so that you can actually have this conversation with your financial planner, or if you're actually a financial planner, you can actually have a conversation with your clients as well as a value add. Okay, so there are 22 decks, 22 slides here. I won't cover every single one, but I just want to give everyone a overview, so that those of you who are interested then can contact us. Right. Okay. So basically, there have been quite a number of inquiries on the MINDEF SAF term. Okay, and just to recap, basically the MINDEF SAF term actually covers the following items. Okay, group term life, personal accident, living care plus, okay, disability income, and outpatient Medicare. All right, and what we want to actually highlight is that in case you do not know, okay, you may actually have found that initially when you bought the plan or you sign up for the plan, it's actually very cheap. Okay, which is very true because it's actually a group-based cover. Okay, however, one thing to note is that if you have any CI or early CI, your premiums will actually escalate when you are 45 and above. Okay, and the premiums for the group term life for death and disability will also escalate, but this one is escalating at 65 and above. Okay, so if you look at it in the chart as well, the group term life, if you notice, is on the light blue color. It actually escalates, like it's like jump off the roof lah. It's not escalating gradually, but actually just immediately. Okay, so that's quite scary. So if you are heading towards that and you need coverage, okay, just a quick note is that if you want coverage beyond 65 for that, do take note if this is a suitable so-called like a plan in your portfolio. All right. Okay, and moving forward. Okay, so some of the available options that we've looked at, generally is FWD and My Protector term. Okay, we've compared other insurers as well. So these two actually come up tops. Okay, or rather more competitive in terms of their pricing. Yeah. Okay. So I won't bore you at all these comparison charts, but just to give you heads up that hey, we actually the team has already done something and compared it before. So if you need a little bit of details in it, okay, do seek us out as well. Okay, these are comparisons. Let me just run through below. Okay, so now the good news is that overview in this area of term life. Okay, if you compare it to a level term that you get outside on a personal level. Okay, basically, if you're covering just for death and TPD, okay, of 1 mil, for example, you're covering until 65, MINDEF is still the right choice, or rather the best choice. Okay, but if you are going to cover to age 70, so these are the ones that actually are the better ones. All right. Okay. Likewise, if you want a term with CI. Usually, people will cover with CI as well, unless you are really like fully covered for CI. You don't need CI, and you just want to get a cover for death and TPD, then it's fine. But if you want just with CI also, then okay, these are the various age groups that will give you better bang for your money in terms of the premiums that you are paying. All right. Okay, overview. Okay, so basically, if you're covering until 65, okay, if a person is actually 40 years old and below, okay, it's still more worth it to get your own individual term life. Okay, but if let's say you are 45 and 50, you can consider MINDEF for males. Okay, but otherwise for females, everyone or every age group, okay, it's better to get another insurer, right? Okay, so these are actually a quick so-called like benefits coverage that you get, okay, compared to the other so-called FWD and Aviva, right? Okay, so just to take note, those that are X'd are those that are actually don't have, but it's actually a disadvantage compared to a tick, which is actually an advantage. Okay, so quick overview. All right. One important thing that people do not know or are aware is actually estate planning. Okay. Group term life from MINDEF, actually you cannot do nomination. Okay. So now we've been talking about nomination and making sure that your policies are actually able to be paid out to the right person at the right time and quickly. All right. So nomination helps that. Okay. But MINDEF, the group term life, does not have the feature for nomination. Okay. And of course, if you look at it in terms of the coverage amount, you can cover more if you're actually on other insurers other than MINDEF. Okay, so MINDEF maximum also like about 350K for like critical illness, whereas like other insurers can actually go up to 2 mil or even 3 mil. Okay, yeah, and in terms of premiums, one of the biggest things that we're talking about is actually level premiums. Okay, if you get it for MINDEF, it increases with age, and especially from 45 onwards, it will escalate. Okay, all right, and so basically, if you are thinking about how much you need, okay, and whether you want coverage until 70, so one of the few handles that you want to look at, if let's say you are covering for death or TPD and CI cover, okay, so here are a quick benchmarks. Okay, so if you want to cover for death plus total liabilities, it should be 20 to 30 times of your income. Same likewise for TPD. And if you're covering for critical illness, it will be 5 to 10 times of your income. Okay. Most important thing to all of us here, if you're planning for, if you're as an advisor, you're planning, or you're a client, you're looking for some coverage. Okay. Cover for basic medical expenses. Okay. Basic expenses plus family expenses, and also plus lifestyle expenses. Okay. Yeah. Especially in the event of unforeseen circumstances. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And of course, if you are actually between 40 to 50 and you already have a group term life and CI cover, okay, you will definitely be facing some premiums. So do look out facing some premiums increase. So it's a good time to actually review them. Okay, and in fact, the alternative, if you still need this kind of coverage, the best option is actually go for a level term. Okay, and FWD currently is the better one. All right. Okay. All right, let me just do a stop share. Okay, and we are done for the first part. Okay, so that's a quick one, right? Okay, now so for Tung Jie and Sean, okay, let's get right into action. Okay, so for those of us who actually are interested in terms of what we've just shared, okay, please reach out to us, and we'll be able to actually give you a little bit more. Okay, and so Sean and Tung Jie, right now, today we are going to be covering a little bit about the benefits, or rather the importance of holistic financial planning. Okay, hey guys, so what do you think? What do you think is holistic financial planning?
Maybe Zhong Jie first.
All right.
Okay, first and foremost, I think first and foremost, in terms of good financial planning, we do need to have a blueprint, as I mentioned earlier about financial blueprint, so that we need to have a roadmap towards the goals that we have, financial goals that I mean. So this is something to guide us to what are the milestones, what are things that we want to achieve. So we do need to have a guideline. If we have no goals, so nothing to plan for lah. So definitely, I think you do not need to plan for anything.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
For me, okay, a bit more layman. Okay. So I'll explain what I feel about holistic planning is. It's like, okay, let's say we are not just aiming for one goal or one challenge. We are aiming for a set of goals and a lot of challenge. Okay, let's say like for example, buying a car. You cannot just see, okay, for example, you see my Tesla behind, wow, so nice. I want to buy one. Then I pay for it. But you never thought of the things behind. Yeah. You never thought of the things behind. There's road tax, right? There's insurance. There's petrol. Yeah, there's a lot of those maintenance behind it. So
There's
you must think of they must think of the whole picture. Think of the whole picture. And I think holistic planning is something like that. You have to see far. Yeah, don't just aim for one goal.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, I think you brought up a very good point. It's like, it's not just about thinking far, but actually thinking all round, complete, right? I mean, you cover all bases, right? And so if I can actually, affirm that as well. It's like when example, using the car as an example, there are so many things that we think looks nice. Okay, so these are the things that we think we want. Okay, I want a red color Tesla, for example, or I think I should choose the right color, but that's beyond the color. You should actually choose, in terms of the color, not just that, in terms of like how's your installment period, whether electric is the way to go or whatever, all these things. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good example, man. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. So in terms of holistic planning, because why we are covering this one is because lately there's a news article that talks about like more people are actually looking into planning, looking into even investing more. In particular, there's a survey that actually indicated that Singaporeans generally are more prone to want to invest more at every stage of their lives, okay, compared to other people in the region, okay. And I think this is actually something that is important because it's not just like, oh, I decide I want to invest more, then I invest more, right? It doesn't happen that way, right? So what do you think are actually the things to look out for, or what do you think are the ways to start a holistic financial planning, guys? Maybe Chung Jie or?
As I mentioned earlier, of course, we have to have a big picture, and to invest, definitely, first and foremost, you have to have the expectation right, because investment usually you need to go through right for a time horizon, as in a timeline. Usually it would not be because you wouldn't expect to see a very fast return. So it's supposed to be a medium to even long term, meaning that 5 to 10 years or even more. So that's why whatever resources that you put into investment, it should be your spare resources and things that you can invest and to write it out the 5 to 10 years example. Yep.
Okay, I think two things. Okay, knowledge and psychology gap. Okay, why I say that? Okay, a lot of people might have knowledge to invest, but I want this, I want that, I want to invest this, I want to go into FD, I want to go into structure. Yeah, they have the knowledge. They know the products out there because we can actually Google for all these investment things. But your psychology gap, meaning that are you able to go into it? Yeah. And you have to think, what is okay, let's be realistic. Are you able to afford it? Yeah. So seriously, we met a lot of clients, but I can seriously say that without the basic amount of sum of money, seriously, you can't do any investment.
Okay. All right. I think let me pick on that, Sean. Okay, and Chung Jie. So let's say, like Chung Jie, you've always been advocating a blueprint. Okay, I think you are known for that term, lah. Okay, let's call you Mr. Blueprint. All right, Chung Jie. Okay, and so Sean as well. You just brought up a point. Okay, you need to have the resources. You need to have the money. So let's say for our listeners here, you've got a roughly, maybe like blueprint set out. Let's say, and you've got some resources. All right. For our listeners here today. All right. What's next?
What's next is more towards what are the options in terms of where to invest and where to put the money into. So I think it's very important to see, depending on individuals, like risk profile, risk appetite, because usually investments there are a wide range. So some they have a stable return, but over a period of a longer time frame. Then some is like actually they do able to see much better returns, but they do have volatility, meaning that the ups and downs may be more obvious during that the shorter period of time. So volatility, the ups and downs, doesn't mean it's equal to these, because it's normal that there'll be fluctuation. It's just like heartbeat, there'll be up and down, up and down. So this is something that everybody, especially those who are going to go into investment, to know about it. So definitely, as just now previously also mentioned, the time to stay invested is very important as well.
Okay, all right. Okay, good. Right. How about Sean?
I think it's about situation. Let's look into your situation. Okay, let's say if you are not there yet, then you have to move towards the first step. Okay, let's say I don't have anything. I need to set a goal first to go into to move to the first step before I can take the second steps. Yeah. So that is very important. Don't straight jump into investment. You need to have the backup. You need to look far. Yeah. You need to look far in order to plan your short-term goal.
Okay.
That's very important.
Okay. So like what just now, good. Thanks, Sean. Okay. So like what just now Zhong Jie mentioned, that you need to actually look at like long-term returns or whatever, right? Okay. So let's say our clients or our listeners have already looked at that already. Okay, I want to go long-term because like everybody says short-term not very good, right? Okay, because like long-term is actually more sustainable. Okay. Then maybe in this case, my final questions to you guys is that, let's say we've got our long-term goal, for example, like what Sean asked, has advised, and then we've looked at resources. Yeah, got a roughly made up blueprint. Okay, what is next for our listeners? What would you suggest then?
Yes, probably I'm asked a bit more. So for your question, is it probably like what are the options or what are the instruments or tools they be able to look
or
into?
Maybe just what can our listeners do next, no? Yeah.
For me, I feel that the first step is definitely seek professional help if you don't have the knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, because seriously, even for us professionals, we are talking about holistic here. We seriously don't look into every aspect. There is so many things to look into. Let's say for retirement planning. Okay, you need to plan for retirement, but you also need to look into your child education if you have children. You need to, whether for disability, you need to, like let's say in the middle, you need to fund for your business. All this comes into it. And you also have to take into personal situation like, okay, what if you are going for like a wedding, your child is having a wedding. You won't be able to plan for it. You see, as a financial planner, I won't be able to foresee all these things. Or maybe there's a divorce. Yeah, it will cost you a lot. Yeah. So all these consider holistic. Yeah. So really we have to plan step by step and review every year, every 2 to 3 years. Yeah, so that we can actually be holistic.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Sean and Zhong Jie. I think you brought up a very good reminder. And as I've asked, right, I mean, I actually asked what's next because I think this is a question that a lot of our listeners will actually also ask. Okay, so like you say, I think if I can put it on a different way, is to have a third party, neutral party to come in and help you actually watch out for your back or your side, so that you can have a well covered perspective, right? And of course, in this case, the one person or the few persons that will come in and make the difference is actually or rather the third party is actually a financial advisor, financial planner, or even your tax or your accountant, friend. Hopefully your friend, they won't charge you, right? Okay. Or your lawyer. And of course, like with this information, then you can provide, you can feel more assured that you're covering more things than just your own personal information or personal decisions as well. Okay, great. Okay, any last words, guys? Any takeaway for our listeners before we wrap up?
Yeah, holistic planning is complicated. Yeah, so and it's very challenging. Yeah, so really talk to a professional. Yeah, And okay, call me this number.
Yep. Okay. And
That's all for me.
yeah, it's complicated, but it can be easily managed. All right. Yeah, with the right people, right?
Yes,
So, yeah,
that's right.
any thoughts?
Yep, similar to what Sean has mentioned, which I mentioned earlier, I think first and foremost, whatever plans that we have, we do need to have the backup so that in the event, if the worst case scenario turns out to be, we will be prepared for it as well. And of course, I think in terms of like financial advisor or planner, someone you can trust and someone you feel comfortable to work with. So of course, you can just choose someone you can prefer to work with, and of course, to see what is best customized for your own self. Because, for example, people who may like Gaius, may like Sean, may not like me. So some who may like me doesn't like Sean as well. So example, so you just need to find someone that's comfortable to work with you, to partner with you together, because it's very important. This journey we have to go hand in hand together for a long period of time.
Good. Okay. Finding the third party person, but at the same time also, hopefully you can also connect with this person that you're working with, because it's going to be a decent journey that you'll be working with. It's not just a once-off, one time. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. Thanks, guys. All right, and that's all, folks. We've come to the our end of this SOW session. Okay, if you like us, join and subscribe to our channel. And of course, if you have any questions, then just engage us. If you like some of the materials that we've shared, okay, reach out to us as well. Okay, until then, stay safe and stay healthy. God bless. Have a good week ahead. Bye bye.
Bye bye.